By welcoming everybody that's joined the webinar and everybody that's live with us on Facebook. We're super excited today. I'm going to introduce to you our panelists shortly. But just for everybody that's joined us today, welcome. This is the Induka Group Green Room, and Lenny will touch on what the Green Room is just in a few minutes. So yes, it's the Induka Group, myself, Trevor Thomas, and my partner, Lenny de Villiers. We've got a company called Induka Consulting Group, and what we do, we help people that want to live their dream, specifically in America. And this is for anybody from the age of 18 to 70, and we help you to get yourself a green card and live your dream. If this is what you wanted to do and be in America, this is how we can help you. So for further information, please don't hesitate to contact us. But I'm excited to welcome you to the panel, to this exciting chat today. But Lenny, can you just touch on what the Green Room is again, that everybody's on the same page?
Yeah, sure. Guys, so we are very excited to have launched this this webinar, live webinar. So we are actually putting ourselves on the spot as well. We're not recording something where we can read it off. We are actually trying to keep it a very relaxed webinar area where we are actually going to touch on topics that are relevant to immigration, not necessarily for our program, which is getting you to America, but basic information about immigration, things obviously we've touched on already as documentation that you need. Last week we touched on that elephant in the room that was on the back of the immigration suspension to the US. But today we're also going to focus on some other things around the US. But like on Thursday, at the end of this program, we'll be telling you guys more about what we are going to be doing on Thursday and from next week as well. But like the Green Room is just a great space where Trevor and I will be touching on relevant topics on immigration and things that are relevant at current media spaces as well. You know, so today is also a great topic for us. Like I said, it's something that we are going to be focusing on that is more US specific and obviously more specific for our clients and for our future clients. But also it is introducing someone that is also very close to us and also someone that is partnering with us in this journey. So Trevor, over to you for introducing our great panelist today.
Yeah, thanks, Lenny. Diane, welcome. And to everybody, I'd like to welcome Diane Stewart to you. She is a partner and a founder of Pathway USA. Man, from being an author, Diane, to so many other things, it's great to have you with us today. And I'm going to ask Diane, if you don't mind, won't you give us a 2-minute equation about who you are and how you fit into Pathways USA?
Hi, good morning, everybody. It's wonderful to be here from North Carolina. I live in Charlotte, a very beautiful city set on the border of North Carolina and South Carolina. And I have been here since 2001 when I left South Africa with my husband and 2 small children. He had a lot of business activities here, and we thought that we would come for a couple of years and then we would come back to South Africa. Well, that kind of didn't work out like that. And all these years later, here I am, assisting other people from all over the world. I don't just work for South Africans, but I love to help people from all over the world who want to move here for one reason or another. So through that experience, I learned a huge amount. I made a lot of mistakes, and I am now able to share it with people who are brand new at this and who need as much help as they can. So yeah, it's been a long journey, but it's been an exciting one.
Yeah.
Lovely to have you with us, Diane.
Yeah, that sounds very exciting. I mean, I think that stood out for me there, Diane, is that, you know, what we're actually grateful for also that you said a lot of mistakes that you guys made, and then you guys actually help the people not make those mistakes, you know, so which is what we are very grateful for people like you. And the other thing that really stood out for me that is actually quite a feather in your cap is not just for the things that you guys have been through in your immigration process and stuff like that. I mean, but I never knew you were actually a beauty queen when you were in South Africa, you know, so being a Miss Sandton Chronicle, that is a big thing. I mean, for South African, we are in the midst of beauty, not just brains, but we are so welcome.
Well, thank you so much for that. Thank you so much for that. That was a long time ago, as you can imagine. And it was a great call. And the San Chronicle was very close to my heart all those years ago and still is. I'd like to just share a little bit about why people come to the US. There are a number of reasons why they come here. And people probably know these reasons, but I think I'll just briefly share them. America has always been the gold standard in most things. Even though we're all going through this very traumatic time at the moment, things in America are in fact very orderly. They are still very organized. People are doing what they have to do and going about their business, even though we're all, sitting in our houses and behaving as we should. Slowly, the economy is going to be opening up over the next couple of weeks, and people are doing it carefully and slowly. So the reasons why people come here is because America offers so many things that the rest of the world does not offer. For example, free education for your children up until the age of 18. Lots and lots of opportunity for work and employment, even though right now I must say we have a huge unemployment base simply because we're not able to function as we normally do. I have no doubt that in the next couple of months, the United States will rebound in a very big way. People are eager to get back to work. They're eager to take care of not spreading this virus. And so the economy is buoyant enough to be able to take that boost that I predict is coming in the next couple of months. So yes, America is a country of opportunity, of order, of law. It's not perfect. No country is perfect in the world, but it is a most marvelous place to work if you're hardworking and you want to usual, because some countries that people move to are not always happy when they move to a new country. So so that's just a broad background as to why people choose America.
Excellent, excellent. Diane, I mean, we did touch on this last week in detail with Eric Bladoneri, the VP of Visa Solutions, but also just from a different angle and from your perspective, and obviously from the people that you've chatted to in America as well, with the lawyers that you work with, immigration lawyers and stuff. What is your views? I mean, you did touch on them now, that America would probably come out of this quite quickly and strong as well. Just from your idea, what is your view on the suspension of the immigration at the moment?
Well, I think that President Trump had to say something to his voters. He had to keep them happy. He had to make sure that they were not worried about getting a job when this is over. I have no doubt that the people that want to work in this country will get their jobs back, or they'll get another job. We had the strongest economy in the history of the world recently, so I have no doubt that it'll go back up there again. There is a huge demand for workers in various industries now: truck drivers, delivery people, logistics people. Very, very important part of the economy now, because people are ordering online and they want their goods delivered and their groceries delivered to their houses. So this is an infrastructure that is going to boom. It is booming right now, but I think it's going to boom even further. And so I think there's been a shift in the job, in the employment opportunities here in this country, but it'll shift into a good space for most people.
Diana, tell me something. Pathway USA is well recognized and well known for helping people that are across the spectrum. In other words, EB5 and other visas. I mean, have you seen that there's been a real sort of downturn in people inquiring about immigration at the moment, or do you find that you and Bruce, your husband, are still very busy in terms of your normal way of life?
I think people are, there's been a continuation. Absolutely. People, we thought, my goodness, maybe our business will just come to a standstill. That has not been the case. We have a steady stream of existing clients that are in the process. They're in process to either come on an EB3 or an EB1 or an EB5. So they are all just in a holding pattern. As soon as they can travel, they'll be coming to see us on our Look, See and Decide trip, which we do a lot of, where we explain to people what their life is going to look like in America, where their children are going to go to school, where they're going to live, how do they open a bank account, how do they establish a credit score, which I must just say is incredibly important. If you don't have a credit score in the United States, there's very little that you can do, and it becomes very, very expensive in order to just do a basic thing like get a cell phone. So you really need to know these things in order to function well in America. And that's what we help our clients with. The first step that you have to take is to get into the country legally. That's where you guys come in, and that's where the attorneys that I work with around the country, they provide that door, that golden key, as I call it. What we do is we roll out the red carpet for you. We help you assimilate, we help you plan your life, we help you prepare before you even get here. We help you prepare to have a successful life here. Because so often people arrive here and then I get calls from folks saying, what do I do now? I can't do this. I can't get a credit card. I can't get an apartment. I can't buy a car. Can you help me? And those are fundamental things that we help our clients with every single day.
Excellent. I mean, Diane, this is actually now steering actually very close to, or on top of the topic that we actually want to talk to you about. So our hearts in our program as well, is that why we put in so much effort into our immigration, into our applicants, and also just getting to know them personally, is because we want to make people, their whole immigration process, we want to make it a success. And this is also, we are so grateful that we can partner with people like you and Bruce that have got a similar heart. You also want to see people not just see them to the airport as they go off, but you want to see them successfully conclude the whole thing and actually establish a good living for themselves once they get to America. So on top of that is the topic of the day is actually what we're talking about is a US credit score. I think if you could maybe, with all your experience that you have, and also not to actually take too much detail from your experience, also because I know that is what you guys do, is just to give us a basic overview of why you need a good credit score. So obviously most of our applicants, not most, but all our applicants that are going to America will find this very, very useful. I mean, they are just very excited to go to America. But then also the harsh reality is once they get to America, then there's even more to just immigrating. Like you said, the biggest thing is getting yourself legally to America. That's the big box checked. But then once people get to America, some of them haven't really been to America. They've been there on a visitor's visa, and you see it from that perspective and you think, wow, America is great. But once you start living there, you need to actually start living, meaning you need to get into the crux of things, get a credit score. What does it mean to get a credit score? Why would I need a credit score? So if you can maybe just touch on the basics around credit score for us, that'll be just super, super helpful.
Great, Trevor. This is why I do this work, is because it gives me great satisfaction to see people land here and have a successful life. When I bump into them or I talk to them online or I give them a call, it's wonderful to see that they're happy, their children are happy, their wife is happy, and everybody's doing well. That's my reward for what I do. So let's just take a step back and let's speak about what that credit score looks like. Now, a credit score is really something that will control your life in America from the day you arrive here until you die. Because nobody will give you anything in the United States without checking what your FICO score is. It's FICO. And I'm not sure what it stands for, but I think it's financial something, something, something. I'll have to look it up. You've caught me out on something that I don't know, but I do know people who can tell me what it stands for. But your FICO score is a score that tells anybody who wants to do business with you how you pay your bills. So, do you pay them on time? Do you renege on them? Do you not pay them when you should? Do you not pay them when they do? And every time you make a mistake in America, they take points off your FICO score. And there are 3 reporting agencies in America that control these scores. The one is called Experian, the other is TransUnion, and the third is Equifax. Now, most mortgages or most banks check all 3 of those scores because they vary, because each company has slightly different algorithms that manage those scores. But you need to monitor that score. You can check what your score is when you get to the United States and you have a social security number, which you're only going to get when you get your legal immigration papers. But you can go online and you can check what that score is, and that score could be anything from 500 to 900. And you need to be. I have. If you go onto my Pathway USA Facebook page and onto my social media pages, you'll see that I've posted, recently I posted a diagram to show you what those FICO scores are. And anything from 550 to 600 is poor. Anything from 650 to 800 to 700 is good. 700 and above is getting towards excellent. 750 to 800 is excellent, and anything above 800 is even more excellent. So when somebody, for example, wants to provide you with a cell phone, you walk into a cell phone company and you're brand new here and you have no history, you have no FICO score, they'll go online, they'll put your social security number in the system and it'll come out as being poor because nobody knows you. And I'm not going to go into the depth of how they calculate that score, but one of the major portions of that score is how long you've had credit in America. So if you've just landed like a few days before, your score is going to be virtually zero. So why would the phone company, the mobile company, give you a cell phone, which is worth probably hundreds or thousands of dollars, and not know whether you're going to pay them back? So what we do is we try and prepare our clients before they get here to build that credit score. And if they can't do that, if it's impractical to do that, then we help them build it the minute they get here. And we teach them exactly what the criteria is and how they go about building that credit score. And that's really, really important, because when I got to America, there was nobody who could teach me, because Americans are just born into this. They don't have to suddenly do it. They get their first job when they're 16, they get a bank account, they put money in it, they pay some taxes, and they just take it from there. They get their first major job, they graduate high school, they go to university if they're lucky, they then get a job and they start paying what you call PAYE, what we call W-2, and they just off they go. And so if nobody's ever taught them how to manage their credit, they could get their credit damaged. And so when they decide they now want to buy a car or a house or a cell phone, that's when they discover what a credit score is. And that's when they have to quickly learn from somebody who, how to behave properly. Yeah. And so the golden rule is to pay your bills on time every month and never be late. That's the most important thing.
Okay. Diane, so I remember in a discussion that we had, so maybe what I should do is share with you this, that obviously Visa Solutions, in the package transaction that they're doing, there's obviously a basic relocation thing, as you well know, is what we offer to our guys. And part of that now as well is because you're going as part of an employment-based visa. So this is obviously speaking to the people that are part of the Induka group offering that is there at the moment. So we could assist the guys to get a basic credit card, and I think the limit is probably about $3,000 or maybe $4,000 US. But one of the things that was very important was one of the things that you mentioned to me last time is that in South Africa we tend to use our credit cards where even if there's you haven't used credit facility, you put money into the card, sort of as a savings equation. And I know you mentioned last time that if you do that, it's completely against what should be done in the American. Can you talk to me a little bit about that?
Yes, using your credit card in America as a debit card is illegal, because just by the name of a credit card, you have to have credit on that. I mean, you have to be in debit on the credit card. Does that make sense? You have to owe money on your credit card. When you have a debit card or a bank card, you've got money in the card that is available to you. All right. So in America, we have a debit card, which has got money in it. And we have a credit card, which you're going to now withdraw against, that you then have to pay back. If, for example, somebody gives you a credit card with a limit of $300, which is probably what you're going to get if you brand new here and they've never seen you before, some kind person in a bank might give you, with your employment papers, they might give you a credit card for $300. The problem with that is that in order to build your credit score, you have to manage that amount very carefully. You can't run it up to $300 every month and then pay it off, because that shows the credit the credit company that you're living right at the edge of your available credit.
Right.
That tells them that you don't have any money and you have to use your entire available credit in order to survive. So what we suggest to people is that you only use a third of that credit card available limit and you pay it back immediately after you've used it. So if you go to the grocery store and you spend $100 on groceries, you go back home and you go online and you transfer money straight into that credit card out of your checking account or your debit card into your credit card, so that they can see that even though you're using your credit card, you're also paying it back almost immediately. But if you run it up to $300 and then you pay it at the end of the month, they then think, oh, there's something going on here.
Right.
So that's a little tip that you really need to be aware of. Never ever spend more than 30% of your available credit on that card. Rather use your debit card. The problem with a debit card is that it's not protected in the United States. So if you get your salary and the money goes into your debit card and you use that debit card and somebody picks it up fraudulently, you have very little chance of getting that money back because it's like cash. If, however, you have a credit card, you can go to the bank and say, this was a fraudulent transaction, and they will reverse it. They have no problem doing that here. It's not a problem. So you have to be very careful of using a debit card in America. You have to use it wisely. And if you use your credit card, even if it's only got a $300 limit in it, if you use it wisely, after 6 months, the bank will see that you're behaving properly and that you know how to use a credit card. They're going to come after you and they're going to offer you the world. They're going to offer you more money. They're going to up your balance, you up your credit, and that's how you build it. And that can take up to 2 to 3 years to get to a score of 650 to 700.
Sure.
But that's your aim, because you don't want to have to try and get a vehicle and try and finance a little bit of that vehicle that you're buying at a very high interest rate, because they're going to give you a very high interest rate once they've checked your credit. If you walk into a cell phone company and you want to and you want to get a cell phone, they're going to look at your credit. They're going to charge you a fortune for that cell phone, because it's much higher risk for them. And then when you want to buy a property, or if you want to buy a home, then they're going to look at it again and they're going to say, well, we're not even lending to you because we have no way of knowing whether you're going to pay this back. And even some clients which don't include your clients are assisted with an apartment, but many South Africans that come here without assistance arrive here and can't even get a rental apartment, because who's going to rent to them if they haven't got a history? You know, they might not pay me back and they might trash my apartment. So you can see, I hope I've illustrated to your listeners, to your viewers, that this is a really important piece of your life in America. And if you don't know how to play the game, you're not going to succeed.
No,
and
absolutely.
we need clients to play the game.
No, Diane, thank you very much. I think it's very important. I think that, obviously just for everybody that's part of the Duke Group side, based on what we've done and how we're doing it, and the relationship that Visa Solutions has, just to mention to you, we've also got an agency that is helping our clients if they're wanting to do rentals. But this is obviously then based in Houston for the specific, do you understand what I'm saying? So the dynamics are slightly different. Also with a lot of the guys that are currently in America that have just arrived when it's under the COVID side, that's obviously for the trucking program. There was a scenario at the moment where they were in very difficult space. And they managed each to get a credit facility or credit line of $3,000. But I think that what's pertinent over here and what's very important is that they understand what you just mentioned, that you don't want to go over 30% of that which you get given, and just to make sure that you stick to those payments that you need to do on a monthly basis to make sure that you can just live the life that you're wanting to. Otherwise, I do believe, like you're saying, it can become very, very, very challenging.
So from my side, Diane, just a quick one still on the credit score. I know this is something you guys do, and I want to encourage people that are listening to this to get hold of you if they are already in this process, because I know you are able to help them get a credit score before they get to America. And obviously that is a vital point if they can follow that program. Also just give them timelines to say, if you follow the program before you go to the States, this is your timeline or credit score you can be looking at. And if you don't follow it, this is your timeline to follow it. Once you are in America, this is what it will look like time-wise to get yourself to a good credit score.
Yes, exactly. You know, and this is, I must just emphasize that this is just one aspect of the relocation process. It's a very important piece because it affects your entire life. And it affects your entire life for the rest of your life in America. And so so you need to get it right first time. The other thing that I touched on earlier was that you are 30% of the score is in fact calculated on how long you've had credit in the United States. So that's a big chunk being taken out of the total 100% evaluation of your score before you've even started. So you've got to be really, really careful about playing by all the little itty bitty rules that go into making a good credit score every single day. I have some clients that check their score every day so that they can go back to their bank and say, I want a better interest rate on my mortgage, on my bond. And they get it because they've been working hard at it, and they go in, and instead of paying 8%, which is probably what you're going to pay if you're a foreign national and you're able to get a mortgage in this country, which we have a program to do that. And then they bring it down to 3 or 4%, and they have saved themselves a fortune every month. So those are very important. So now you can see how important that FICO score is, because it really can change your life dramatically from a standard of living and from an affordability point of view.
Very good. I mean, it sounds a bit like we checking our discovery points, equivalent, but obviously on a much bigger scale.
Yes, exactly. The good thing, talking about discovery, I just want to mention that one of the wonderful things about Nduku's program with, what you are offering your clients is that they get healthcare and dental care included with their employment, which is huge in the United States. Healthcare and dental care is very expensive. We don't have any state-sponsored hospitals here. The only state-sponsored hospitals we have are the VA, which is run by Veterans Affairs, which are for military personnel and retired military personnel. But every other person in the United States goes to what you would call a private hospital. And so it's expensive. And of course, now with COVID, everything is even more expensive because we've had such a stress on our hospitals here. Although I must mention that there are hotspots in the United States, and we all know that it's New York and some, a few other places, maybe San Francisco as well. But by far the majority of the country is not under that stress. I was at my local hospital on Friday this week, and it was dead quiet. Everybody had their temperature taken. Everybody was wearing masks. We were questioned. Had we been sick? Had we had a fever? So it was absolutely quiet. There was no fuss. There was no bother. There was no craziness. So the hospital system here is excellent. But if you don't have health coverage, it can be incredibly expensive, and it can be, almost debilitating. So your program that offers your clients free medical and dental for the entire time that they're employed is phenomenal. It's worth a lot. And I'd like to just emphasize that is an incredible benefit that your clients get when they land in the United States.
No, thanks, Diane. And I think that, we'll come back just now to exactly all the services that you guys offer. I just want to quickly ask something on behalf of all the people that are listening and watching. Not everybody is in a category where, for example, they could approach you and through Pathway USA look at purchasing a house in America and building up a credit score before they get there. So what would your advice be to the people that weren't able to sort of follow that path? We've obviously got people from all sorts of walks of life. Many of our guys are entrepreneurs. And the knock of this COVID system is going to really, really hurt. It's going to hurt property prices in terms of selling houses in South Africa and trying to have more equity in your property to purchase things in America and that sort of stuff. So if you can maybe touch on that for me, specifically to the point of, yes, you do have clients that have got the financial means of buying a house through you guys now and building a credit score. But what would your advice be to someone that isn't in that position and is still doing this program with us? What would you say to them when they get you to your doors?
Well, before they even get to America, they need to start saving every single cent that they can right now. Every single cent. Stop spending. Stop spending on anything that is only absolutely necessary. Food in your mouth, medical treatment, that's it. And save every single cent that you possibly have, because yes, things are going to get very tough. I have been telling my clients for 5 years to start saving, selling their assets, and keeping the money in cash and moving it offshore. We have been singing this song for the longest time, and unfortunately, many people have got to the point where they are now unable to do that. However, if you do not have those means, and you're coming to do a job and you're going to live very frugally, which you can live in America very frugally and successfully, start saving now. Keep every cent that you earn and put it away in your bank so that you can move it away, move it with you when you arrive in the United States. I just want to quickly touch on 2 questions, Trevor, that I see have come up on our questions. The one is, could you get a credit score before you arrive if you don't have a social security number? Excellent question. And the second one is pretty similar. Can you start to build a credit score in the US before entering the US? The answer to that is yes, you can. And the way you do that is that you will only get your social security number when you land here, or when you arrive on your visa or on your green card. When you arrive, you will then be able to apply for a social security number. However, what you have done prior will then get associated with that social security number when you go to the bank. For example, and I'm going to give you a short example. We have clients who are able to purchase property here on a foreign national loan. We have a special program called a foreign national loan for people that want to purely invest in America. They only want to buy something as an investment. They're not going to live in the house. They're not going to live in the country. But at that moment, they then purchase a property. It could be an apartment, it could be a small home, it could be a mansion. Right. It doesn't matter to your credit score. What matters is that you've actually got a mortgage that you're now going to get an American tenant to pay you every month until you actually arrive here. Once you arrive here, so now you've got a history of this tenant paying your mortgage for the last 18 months or a year or 2 years, which incidentally is going to be at least that time because of the delay now in application time, okay, for your visa. So people are going to be waiting for at least a year to 18 months to 2 years for their visas to come now because of COVID. But once you've got that history, you then arrive and you tell your bank, here's my social security number, now connect it to my mortgage. And what happens is miraculous. It backdates for 2 years or for 18 months or for a year that you've had that mortgage. And that's how we do it for our clients. Okay. And so there are very few people who can do this foreign national loan. Money is very scarce right now. It's all on hold for the foreign national loan right now. Unfortunately, many of my clients were sort of waiting to see, you know, the ones that pulled the trigger and bought the properties when I said they should are all smiling, because when the doors get open now, everything's going to be cool. All right. So, you know, as I say, if you're going to make the decision to immigrate or to move anywhere in the world, you need to make that decision. Right. Your biggest enemy is not making that decision, because life passes you by. And this is a perfect example. This COVID thing is a perfect example of life passing you by, because now you've got a whole lot of unknown things that you can't even fathom into your plans. Whereas if you had made the decision earlier, when you decided, things would have looked a whole lot different. So my message is for people to make that decision and move ahead with it. Stop second guessing what if, how if, what if. If you decide to move to the United States, jump on the roller coaster and go, because that's going to be your biggest asset.
So Diane, it's been great. It's really been informative to have the discussion with you. I want to obviously say to everybody, what we're going to do is invite you and Bruce, obviously going forward down the line. We still want you guys to be partnered with us in the green room as well. But just quickly, if you don't mind, in closing, can you quickly share, I mean, you've been in South Africa and now you live in America. You know, a lot of people are worried that they can't live the life that they live in South Africa because of their perception about, you know, things in America and the perception about how we live. You know, we have hide help, we have we've got great food, all that sort of stuff. Do you know what I'm saying? I mean, you know, in short, let me ask you, you know, what do you normally say to people that, I mean, you obviously get asked this question a lot of times, you know, will I live the life that I live in South Africa? Can I live it in America? What is your short answer to that?
Oh,
There's no short answer.
Because my life in America compared to what it would be in South Africa is 5,000% better. There is no comparison. And that is why so many South Africans that come to the United States never ever leave unless they have to, unless they have a very specific reason why they have to go back home. They just do not go anywhere. We live a lifestyle that people can only dream about. And I know it sounds trite, and I know it sounds, oh, I can't really believe that. But if you choose the right city to live in and the right environment that suits you, your specific needs, and there is so much choice in this country, it's ginormous. It's 50 South Africans. So South Africans. So you can choose to live in any environment that you choose to live in and live a quality of life that you could not even imagine. You hear about people talking about a first world country as opposed to a third world country. America is the first world country in the world. There is no other country that has a lifestyle like this. I defy anybody who's lived here long enough to tell me that this is not a great place to live. It's an incredible place to live. But you have to live within your means. You have to live in a place that you really enjoy. Some people love snow. I don't. Some people love beach. I don't want to be in hot, humid weather, 12 months of the year. So that's not for me. So I chose Charlotte, North Carolina, because it's very similar to Durban and Pietermaritzburg. It's a small city. I mean, it's a big city with small town values. Those were all important aspects for me. So that's why we have so many South Africans coming here. We have plenty going to Austin and Texas. We have plenty of people going to Dallas. It just depends on where you have to be. Like, for example, your clients go to Houston. Texas is great. South Africans love Texas. Some people get a great job in New York. I wouldn't live in New York. I couldn't function there. It's not for me. But that's what we help our clients decide. What is good for you? Where are you going to be most happy? Because that's a crucial piece to the success of your relocation.
Diane, this has been absolutely amazing. You've added so much value to us and I hope to our listeners as well. I think with this webinar and stuff, I think we've also, from our perspective, only realized that we've actually only scratched the surface of how important these conversations are. Obviously we've had them with you before, and the people that are looking to immigrate, I mean, I think their eyes are just going open. They're going, wow, this is amazing. So as Trevor said, we would love to be in contact with you guys again. Obviously there's various topics that we can have with you guys, and we love chatting with you guys as well, because all your information and insight is just invaluable for us. I think on the back of that, I mean, we've been on here for about almost 40 minutes now. I think we're going to leave it at that. I want to really, really thank you for your time. But I also want to encourage people to go onto Pathway USA's website, get in contact with Diane them, find out how you can get a better credit score. Look at all the options that they give you and really get in contact with them. They do come out to South Africa every now and then. Obviously now with the COVID story being in place, there might be delays on some of their travels, but please get in contact with them. They do Zoom contacts, so they do Zoom chats and everything like that. I see there's a couple of questions coming up. I wish we could answer them all at the moment, but we will do this again with them. Just on the back of the green room, I said we will touch on what we are going to do on Thursday. On Thursday, we've got quite an interesting topic, and I think it is relevant to everybody. This is where we actually go on and touch on everybody's immigrating to the US, New Zealand, and everything else. I think it takes more courage to go to those countries, but we are going to be touching on the psychology of immigration with a professor from the Pretoria University. So please switch on again. We will see you guys then on Thursday at 3 o'clock as well. From our side, thanks, guys.
Thank you so much for having me. Thank you. And anybody who follows us on Facebook or LinkedIn or Twitter or Instagram, we post a lot of really valuable, interesting stuff on there. But thank you, guys, and have a great evening.
Thanks, Diane. We're super to have you, and we look forward to having you again in the near future. Thanks for your time. In regards that time.
Okay. Thanks, guys.
Thanks,
Bye.
guys. All the best. Cheers.
Guys, are we still on? Are we off?